So we have our run cycle, we have our point animation. Where do we go from here? Well, in this lesson, we're going to take a look at a couple of other animations that we may want to consider adding to our game. This is the scene 46, continuing from the last lesson where we had our point and run in our scene. So the other animations we may want to consider adding are an idle and a walk animation. So let's go ahead and learn how we can implement that into our scene. We'll bring out our tracks editor. Again, we'll go to Window, Animation Editors, Tracks Editor. And if you like, another way to access it is from the command line. We can type in Character Animation Editor, not Tracks Editor, but Character Animation Editor. When we hit Enter, it loads up. So that's just another way to access it. But once there, we now want to make sure we go to the top character set node so we can get to our upper and lower body clips. That's under Character, Set Current Character Set, and we'll go to the top. Now notice how we can't see this even though it's loaded. So we simply go from here to List, Load Selected Characters, and there they are. Now to navigate in the Tracks Editor, it's the same way we would really in our viewport. We can hold Alt and right click and drag to increase the view of our frames, and then holding Alt and middle clicking and dragging allows us to pan our view. Then we can roll the mouse back with a middle mouse button to also change the view of our frames. Okay, so what we're going to do is reposition a few of our clips here, and we'll even increase our length of our time. Let's bring this to frame about 300. Okay, and we'll adjust it if we need to. From there we can back up our view and shift select both of our run clips, and let's drag these down. With the shift selected, we drag them down by left clicking on this dot we see in the center and just dragging that. And we'll drag it so that our start time, okay, is going to be at about, let's say, 250. Okay, so we'll bring this to about 250. Or even 240. I think that will work just fine. Just so we could see a good length of the clips that we're about to use. And then the end time of this run will bring this all the way to 300. So again, we hold Shift. Okay, wait till we see the box highlighted over our end time range, and we'll just bring this to 300. Okay, now that we have this, what we'll now do is work on moving down our point clip so we can go from the point to the idle, or the idle to the point. So again, with them both selected, we'll hold down the dot until we move this to, let's say, about frame 70. And we won't need to cycle this at all because it's just the point clip, which shouldn't cycle. So now we're ready to import our other clips. Let's go to frame 1 so that our first clip will land there. We'll go to File, Import, Animation, and we'll import first our idle. Okay, so we have our idle in our scene. There it is. And it's just moving for one loop. So let's go ahead and have the loop all the way to frame 70. Again, we'll hold Shift, drag at the end to bring the clip all the way to frame 70. And what's nice is that Maya will stop for us once we have reached the other clip. And now with that, let's go ahead and import our walk. So we'll go to the end of this clip, which is frame 100. Go there. And then go to File and Import Clips, and we'll import our walk. Okay, and looking at the walk, okay, it looks like just the legs were brought in. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just undo that, or actually select the clip and just remove it from our scene. And what's important is that you really deselect first before you import your clips so that both clips will be stored within your scene. Okay, so make sure that you have both or everything deselected to go back to import and go to walk, import the walk clip, and now notice both clips are in. Okay, so if you look at this, you can see that the walk clip is set to relative. Our character's walking pretty funny. So we'll want to fix that. We'll just select the clip and again make sure it's set to active. or absolute. We'll do that for both clips. And then we can go back to a wider view in our scene. And let's go ahead and take our walk so that it's going to go all the way to where our run starts. Okay, so with this now done, let's go ahead and see how all of this came together. If we minimize our tracks editor and go ahead and start over the animation, hit play, here's our idle. We go from the idle right into the point, to the walk. Okay, and then from the walk we have our run. So again, this lesson we just looked at a few ideas that we may want to add to really enhance our game animations further. Okay, we definitely don't want to go without an idle, otherwise as the character stops, it's going to look like something went wrong in the game, as if the game froze. So the idle helps us to keep things moving so that we can still have a nice appeal factor to our games. And then of course we want the walk, and what's nice about the walk is that we can basically add an intensity to our directional pad. We can say that if as we move our directional stick slightly, that the character will go into its walk, but as we increase that, as we really crank up the directional pad, then the character will then go into his run. So you can get into some fun things like that. But with this, that does finish our training. We went into a lot of topics. We went into not only rigging characters and rigging techniques for games, and also for our rigs in the future for any other type of setups we may work on, but we even got into animating the character, and then we finished off by looking at ways we can very quickly retrieve that data, bringing it into our scene so that others can work proficiently. Well, with that does again finish this training. This brings us to the conclusion of animating next-gen characters with Maya. Through the past several hours, we learned several techniques for setting up game characters based off of the specifications of a game engine. We even took it a step further and put our rig to good use by animating our character using several animation principles to, in the end, produce a convincing and appealing outcome that several gamers will enjoy to experience. To continue your education, I'd encourage you to check out the hundreds of free tutorials we offer online at digitaltutors.com. And please check back often, as we're always adding new lessons daily. And also on the site, you'll find additional rigging and animation training that complement the one you've just viewed, as well as an entire library of training products covering the different aspects of 3D production that are currently being used by students, schools, professionals, and studios around the world.